Hello all my merry makers and welcome to another Merry Making Monday. I'm your host Becca. Happy December 15th. We'll be getting to the Advent opening in just a minute, but in case you're new here, welcome. Merry Making Mondays are all about tutorials, me showing you how to make something either knit or crochet affiliated. This week we are continuing in the tutorial / knit along of the brioche knitted hat by Yarnspirations. I am not affiliated with Yarnspirations, but I do have their permission to do this tutorial, and I will also link their pattern down below. Now, with all of that out of the way, time to open some yarn from Rainbow Fusions. 18. So pretty. Look at all the different colors in there. There's blue and there's purple and there's even a hint of green. Let's see. Boop. 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 All right. So, trying to put this in a way that makes sense with all the not sure where this one goes, so I'm going to put it down for a second. But you definitely have red, orangey yellow, green, still green but moving towards blue, and maybe this is indigo because that's not quite all purple. So maybe the teal one. Yeah, I don't know, because this one has some, not that one, this one has so much yellow in it. I'm not sure where to put it. It's kind of a outlier now. But there you go. And so if you're joining for the hat tutorial, grab your knitting needles and let's get started on this week's tutorial. So before we get started on row 11, in case you want to look up the pattern by its serial number, here it is. Alright, I also see that we have already done 8 rounds of color B, which means we will be starting with a different color today. Okay. Get my beginning of round stitch marker right there. Alright, row 11 is a regular knit row, which is good since we are adding in a different color. I'm gonna go back to the blue. And just as a refresher, a regular knit brioche roll. You knit the first 2 stitches together, bring the yarn front, slip this stitch purlwise with the yarn in front, wrap the yarn around the needle to create a second loop, and then you knit the next 2 stitches together. And you are going to be doing that all the way around until you hit the beginning round stitch marker. I will meet you there. Alright, before we start row 12, I'm going to go ahead and put a little check mark. Alright, there is no notations for row 12, which means it's just a regular purl row. I will show you that. Now, since this is a new color here, you might want to find the tail and hold on to it. But the first stitch, you bring the yarn in front and you slip the yarn purlwise, and then you wrap the yarn around the needle to create a second loop. Bring the yarn back front so that you can do your purl stitch where you purl the two together. Yarn front, slip the stitch purlwise, wrapping the yarn around the needle to create that second loop, and then bring it back front to purl two together. And you're going to do this all the way around until you reach your beginning around stitch marker. Like I said, you might want to keep on tugging on this tail. I will meet you there. Alright, since we changed colors, I wanted to show you this since things are a little loosey-goosey here. And it might not be readily apparent what you need to do. So see how this is kind of laying down? You got to bring it back up so that you can purl the last two stitches together. Alright. And then we're ready to start row 13. Alright. Row 13 starts with the blue this time, now that we've changed colors. Alright. Knit two together and slip with yarn in front. It says 5 times. Now after you do the first two, you're going to want to go back if you've changed colors and yank on that tail one last time. Alright, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now we do our brioche double decrease. Alright, so you slip these two stitches as if you're going to knit, slip this stitch as if you're going to knit, actually knit this stitch, then bring all 3 of these stitches back over the stitch that you knit. And then you of course slip with the yarn in front, and then it ends with a knit 2 together and slip with the yarn in front. That is the repeat. I'm going to show you it one more time. So you knit 2 together slip the stitch with the yarn in front 5 times. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And now you're ready for the brioche double decrease, where you slip these 2 stitches as if to knit, slip this stitch as if to knit, actually knit these 2 stitches, and then pass all 3 stitches back over the stitch that you knit. Slip with the next stitch with the yarn in front, and then knit 2 together, slip with the stitch, yarn in front. Alright, and you're going to repeat that all the way around until the beginning of round stitch marker. I will meet you there. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and put my little tick mark. Alright, even though we did decreases in the last round, the whole row is the same. The only difference now is everything should be nice and secure. You may want to give this one last minute tug, or last tug. Oh, my yarn split back there. Fun. But bring the yarn front, slip the stitch purlwise, bring the yarn around the needle to create a loop, then purl these 2 stitches together. Yarn front, slip stitch purlwise, bring the yarn around the needle to create a loop, and then purl those 2 stitches together. And you're going to do that all the way around, and I'll meet you at the end. Alright, I always like to show you this part just because, especially if you're new to brioche knitting and you're not used to doing it, it can be a little confusing. So I'm coming up on the second to last brioche purl. Purl these 2 together, yarn front, slip the stitch. Now, before I purl the last stitch, I bring that color up and around, and then I purl them 2 together. And that is it for row 14. I actually really like this pattern a lot. I've said it before, it could be a really good way to be a stash buster and still have a creative, cohesive look. We will finish this, guys. It just might be New Year's before we do, because there is not going to be any Merry Making Monday on Christmas. I will be making merry for Christmas. So that's it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please leave a like in the bottom section below. Feel free to comment. If you haven't subscribed yet, please consider subscribing. Share me with your friends. Join me for tomorrow's video and Advent. And in the meantime, make what makes you merry. Ciao.